afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
How marvellous it is to be with you once more, to speak on that of life here and hereafter. And what a marvellous day you've all had, and still more yet to come. But how wonderful that you have come together not just to teach a way, but to discuss of the way. It is fascinating to listen to not only that which is expressed through those who have stood on the platform, but also to listen to the thoughts that are in your heads. Oh yes, those of you that think your thoughts are private, that those little thoughts that are inside of your head are unheard, have something coming. Because what is there within your head is within your power, is within this universe, and is heard by our world. Do you understand? Have you not spoken all day of the power of the love and the power of thought? This is so important in your world. Not only in the creation of your world, not only, as you have been told, to look to the future, but also to support those in the present. Thoughts are things, ladies and gentlemen. Thoughts create a power of its own. Look at the world as it stands at this time. Look at the things that face humanity. And let us be honest, that although you might think that the world has so much going on, you may wonder where things will lead. But you need to realize that every era of history, every lifetime, there are experiences of difficulty, of stress, of instability, of times of growth, of times of poverty, of times of war, either directly or indirectly. This is the nature of life. And so many people, as has been said in this movement today, are in need of the encouragement and the support to recognize not only the spirit within, but also to know the reality of the unseen world, so that in those times of uncertainty, in those times of challenge, of lack, of uncertainty, that they can find peace and hope and strength by knowing the one true fact that as you walk through this world, you are never alone. That there are those in our world, your friends, your loved ones, but also those who work with you, whether you believe you are a worker for the spirit world or not, whether you believe you are an ambassador or not, you are here as a spirit in the body to be a part of life. A term was used: activist, soldier, warrior. Those terms have been used, and yet we think of them in sometimes a destructive manner. But may I put another term to you: a freedom fighter. Again, the word fight implying struggle. Well, ladies and gentlemen, from the moment you are being brought into this world, there is an element of struggle, is there not? One which only ladies will know and men will never understand. But even life, bringing life into being, can sometimes be a struggle. It almost acts as a precursor to life itself. That we are moving into a life where uncertainty is certain. But yet, as those who grow into the understanding of the Spirit, and I say of the Spirit, ladies and gentlemen, because spiritualism is only one way to understand and to speak of the Spirit. Every experience, every religion, even those that may seem rigid and orthodox and inflexible, also have a touch of the Spirit within them. As has been said, it may have been lost to some, but it is alive in others. Because realize that the ism of any religion is not the people. The people that label themselves or call themselves a spiritualist, a Christian, a Catholic, a shaman, a pagan, an atheist or an agnostic, and many other terms besides. Their set of beliefs, understandings and guidelines are not all of what they are. Within each and every one is a spirit that seeks to express not only itself, but also to find its place within the world and also find those of a like mind. You may have been born into a family, but not feel like you belong in that family. They are family by birth, but not necessarily of spirit, you understand? You will find those who you resonate with and those who you know for sure you must have known before this life. For how could you know them so well in such a short space of time? Because you have known them before. Because your souls have come from a similar place, a similar experience, a similar existence. And in this life, as you move through it, you look to find the people who know you and understand you, do you not? You come to find answers to questions in any religion, in any belief, in any way of life. I hope you see we cover all bases from your discussion to make life easier. But to be finding and searching is the nature of this existence. Someone mentioned earlier about a time of peace across the whole of the earth. And although a wonderful and laudable ideal for an evolving life, sometimes may be an unrealistic one for spiritual unfoldment. It does not mean you cannot find peace within your own life, peace within your own experience of life. But life here is often about uncertainty and exploration. Life here is often about the conflicts that we find ourselves involved in or trying to abate. You see, people often turn to our world and say, why won't you stop these things? Why don't you stop the war? If there is a God, why doesn't God stop it? If there is a divine power, why doesn't a divine power stop it? If there are such enlightened guides and helpers, why don't they stop it? Ladies and gentlemen, who is it who has chosen to come to the earth at this time, if not you? How do you not know that within you is the purpose and the purposeful nature of coming here to change this life in this moment? It is you that have physical hands. It is you who have a questioning mind. It is you who desires answers and also change. And as our friend so rightly said, what are you going to do about it? You see, this is your world. It is within your hands and your care and keeping for this time that you are here. every interaction you have in this world, what does it do? Does it make the world a better place? Or does it make the world a darker place? Be aware of this power. Be aware that when someone says, well, what difference can I make? I'm only one person. My thoughts and my beliefs aren't going to change the world. If everyone believes that is so, then nothing at all will change. It is up to you to become the spark that lights a flame, that sends a fire across the world. You asked most rightly, what has changed within a movement that was prophesied to be so wide-reaching, so impactful, so changing? Why are there not more people coming through the doors? But ladies and gentlemen, how many people know what goes on behind those doors? How many people stay safe within their own belief and understanding? How many of you do not even talk about your spiritualism? When you talk of a rally, you think of going out to the people and making a noise. And in some respects, because of the nature of technology, what has gone on here today will reach out into many different parts of the world and will continue to do so every time somebody watches and listens to what has been said and done this day. You understand? And people say, but technology is bad. No, no, no. Every advance in the evolution of the human race, every technology is neutral. It is how it is used in the hands of humanity that defines whether it is a good or bad thing. People fear at this time the advances in computer technology. Will the computers become so smart that the human race becomes obsolete? Again, maybe through too many films, possibly. But one needs to realize, will the human race become lazy and complacent and allow, as in many instances, others to do the work and to let the mind become slack, to become a lotus eater and to while away the hours doing nothing more than playing games and making no impact upon the world? But that would be their choice in the use of a technology. For others, it will allow them to reach out beyond what they currently are able to do because it brings a freedom, a greater impact, a greater connection, a greater understanding. Just as when science takes a plant and turns it into a medicine, it can be used to kill or to cure, can it not? In the right hands, it will heal those who are sick and in need, and in the wrong hands, it will put them in the ground. So all technology and all advances are neutral in their nature. It is how they are applied. When words are spoken, they are spoken with an intention, are they not? And the intention can be to bring love and peace and healing into the world. Truth can bring love and healing and peace into the world. But if the intention is changed to one of maiming or wounding or insulting, it brings the opposite. And then truth becomes a weapon. So we need to realize, ladies and gentlemen, in our understanding of ourself and the power that flows within us, that it is how we choose to wield it. It is how we choose to use it in the world, how you harness the power of your mind, your spirit, your soul, that becomes the key thing. And if enough people start to move their mind in the same direction, things change. But it is not only the mind. Don't think, well, I can sit back and just think my way into a new world. It is important that you also go out into the world and start to share what you know with others. You spoke of pioneers. In any field of life, in any religion, belief, even science, pioneers were important to step out against the naysayer, to turn around and dispute the long-held facts of science, which happens every generation. You know, people say, well, science is fact. Science actually is no different to religion, and any scientist will hate me for saying that. But a scientist postulates a theory, and then he finds enough facts to prove himself right. Another scientist comes in and says, well, frankly, I don't believe that. Here is another theory, and here are all my facts that prove I am right. Ladies and gentlemen, you have two men who are right and believe that the other is wrong. Where have we heard that before? Oh yes, religion. And from my own experience of life, I felt I was completely right and justified in my understanding. I told people things because I believed from the core of my being that I was being a good Christian, and realized that maybe some of those ideas that I postulated, based on my own facts and knowledge, were the best thing for those people. And maybe now, and most certainly on reflection, I realized that they were not, because I was not freeing the spirit, but I was caging and confining those who wish to be different, who wish to explore a different aspect of life and unfold. And you see, your fight for spiritualism, and I will say it becomes a fight for survival, a fight for a place in the world. And I do not mean this as an angry fight, for you to go out and start having arguments with people left, right and centre because some dead man told you to. But the importance to actually let people know that you are proud to wear your badge, proud to wear your badge of spiritualism, if that is what you wish to call yourself. What is spiritualism to you? Your way of life, your understanding, your way of making sense of the world. You spoke of labels, becoming caught up in words. Your spirit is beyond description. Your light and your power is remarkable. But do you see that? Or do you only see what stares back at you in the mirror, the dense physical body, the home of the spirit world, while you are in this life? How do you see yourself, what you are, what you wish to be? How do you define you and what you are capable of? All of these things are part of this journey of life, part of this journey of spiritualism or spiritual understanding of life, to open the mind to so much more than what you see with your physical eyes, to open your heart your awareness, your senses, not only to our world, but also to the subtler world of the physical world around you. To start to recognize the spirit within others and what it is and who is in there. Not to just look at the body and disregard someone. Someone may not fit your idea of masculinity or femininity, of he, she, they. But that is the outer being, not the inner spirit. In every generation, there has always been a fight for truth and honesty. Not more than 100 years ago, women fought through women's suffrage to be seen and to be heard. People who believed in their need to love another of the same sex, again, still fight today to be seen and to be heard. Others who feel as if they are in the wrong body need to be seen and need to be heard. Just because someone else doesn't understand you as a person, your understanding, your life choices, your beliefs and way of life as a spiritualist, it does not deny your need to be seen and heard, correct? But if you hide away because you will not stand strong in your belief, it is another light dimmed in the world. It is another truth hidden out of view because it does not fit with what others can understand. If you say, well, I don't talk about my spiritualism because people see those films and think I'm like that, then you are doing a disservice to your spiritualism by not setting people straight. Maybe that person's never met a spiritualist. They've only seen the television, the films. And then they meet you and go, well, you're not what I was expecting as a spiritualist. I thought you were supposed to be some unusually spooky person that sits in the dark and wails and moans and calls out, is there anybody there? If only they knew how many people were there, they would probably never get another night's sleep ever again. If they are feared of our world, then it is a sad thing, because it is not our world you need to fear. Fear the living, not the deceased. And those you fear, keep away from, and just stay with the ones you know and love as you learn who to love, who to trust, but then you learn to love the spirit of all. It does not mean that you have to become all hearts and kisses and Valentine's flowers with those whom you consider not to be your friends, but that you can respect the spirit within them. They may not speak your language, they may not understand your views, and you may not completely approve of theirs, but still recognize there's a spirit within them that is searching for their truth, their pathway. And who is not to say that when they stumble upon you in life, that you are both going to learn from the experience? Because you will learn from them just as much as they will learn from you, even if you don't know it. How often do you touch a life of another person and never realize you've done anything at all other than be you? Someone walks away from a conversation with you forever changed by the words of kindness or encouragement you may have given them. You may have tried to impart truth to someone, who you feel it has fallen upon deaf ears. But I can assure you that at some point in their life, they will recall your words. They will recall your wisdom and your guidance. And at some level it is taken to heart. Do not become frustrated on your pathway. Do not feel as if it is a hopeless cause. Realize that everything, that no energy, no thought, no deed is ever wasted. No thought of healing goes unused or is ineffective. No words and conversations past are wasted. Some people say, oh, I may as well save my breath. But your breath has not been wasted in the first instance. You understand? Know that every word that is spoken has a power. That every thought that is shared builds in momentum. If you look back into the annals of your spiritualism and your spiritualist writings, you will see those people that wrote about thought forms, where thoughts, as they reach out beyond the individual, take on their own life, their own power. Have you come across this, ladies and gentlemen? If not, it is something to look for. But you see it in the world without knowing what it is. National fear is a thought form that builds from the fear of lots of people, and it becomes an influence of its own that affects a nation, or at least affects those who are willing to buy into the energy of that fear. You understand? Mm-hmm. So that there are times when our friend spoke of being an optimist. What a wonderful thing to be. And even in the times when you may think that optimism may be obsolete, it is still hope beyond. Nothing in this world is forever. Nothing in your life, ladies and gentlemen, is forever. Whatever you are facing now will come to pass, and a new day begins. A new understanding and a new life awaits you on the other side of whatever you are facing today. And remember that you may think, well, I don't see this ever changing in my life. Then listen to what you have just said. You have become your own prophet. You are holding yourself to today and today's limited belief. You may not know how and why further down the road things will change and be, but have hope that it will change. You may say, well, I don't know how my spiritual journey will turn out. Of course not. What would be the point in spoiling the fun of the journey? You all may have different ideas of fun, mind you, and think, well, I don't find this funny in the least. But it is life. The one thing you can be certain of is you will meet wonderful characters on the road. And those are the people, your family, your tribe, those of your soul, that make that journey worthwhile, that walk with you for a while, not always, for a long time, but sometimes just for a short time, that makes you realize that the trip is worth it, and that the effort and the pain and discomfort is bearable to find this better tomorrow. You understand? Mm. Do we have time for a question?
Of course. So come all this way.
Well, not very far really. It's only a thought away. It's not far.
So anybody has got a question? Just pop your hand up, please. We have a very learned congregation today.
Isn't it marvellous? You know, after they finish, they'll say, I wish I'd asked.
Yes, I thought. We do have one from a lovely
Wonderful.
lady.
Thank you for your wise words so far. I was just wondering, going
going by our conversation this afternoon, if you had any advice that could help bring young people into spiritualism in our churches.
Well, my dear, is to open the doors wider. You have this wonderful technology. Let me say that out of the difficulties that came in those years of COVID, look at what came out of it with your movement. People started to reach out through technology, to reach out to places where there are no churches, there is no understanding, where there is nowhere for them to go. So technology is a wonderful way forward, but also each individual church must move out into community. Mustn't be afraid to be seen. How often are people too frightened to be ridiculed? How often are people too frightened to nail their colours to the mast? I would rather be safe in my religion and it's my belief and that's it. Your pioneers didn't do that and neither should you. There are plenty of opportunities in the world. You say about young people. How disrespectful to me. No, I don't. But all of us are young, but I see what you mean about the young people. But they are searching, they're looking. But how do they know what your churches are unless you tell them, unless you show them? If someone who knew nothing about spiritualism looked at the outside of a building or a notice board, or on a computer at what you put out into the world, would they truly know what awaits them inside? Divine service, demonstration of clairvoyance. That's wonderful if you're a clairvoyant. What if you're not? But these terms are not always explained. It's not always shown who's welcome. It is awful to say, but in some churches, children are actively discouraged because they're a bit of a nuisance. So you bring them in as young as you can and then take them away until they can behave. I think we should do that with older members as well, maybe. I jest. But it is important to realize that churches are not just about worship, but about community. And to start to reach out to people that are in need. To start to reach out, to say this is who we are and where we are and what we are. Put a speaker on Speaker's Corner talking of spiritualism. It was done in the olden days. It was done by the pioneers. You heard of the House of Commons. You heard of the Royal Albert Hall. Rallies were running right up until the 1990s, really. It is not an old, passé thing to want to celebrate, but it has to go out beyond the walls. If you stay within the walls going, why does nobody come? Well, who have you invited? Those of you that sit there in the chairs going, oh, I love spiritualism, I hope my church survives. How many people have you brought with you into your church? How many people who have gone, oh, I don't know about that. Isn't that a funny place full of funny people? But have you brought them along to let them find out? If something has been especially important in your life, is it not worth sharing? It may not be for everyone. You might think, oh, I won't mention it to them because they won't be interested. This won't be their thing. How do you know? More and more people in your world today believe in an afterlife than ever before. It is not for the lack of desire and wanting to know. It's not knowing where to go that becomes the problem. And if wherever those churches are, they stay behind their closed doors, those doors will ultimately at one point or another, like every church in every religion, will close when the last person who is behind those doors passes away. There always must be a new generation, but it relies on those of you in this room now to go out and to encourage. In other religions, although you might not like it, and I'm not saying this is a solution, but they talk of ministry. And you have it in your principles, do you not, of spiritualism, that there is a ministry. Part of that ministry is to go out to others and to share knowledge. Now you might think, oh, I hate those people when they turn up on my door trying to tell me that I don't understand my own religion and theirs is the way. You may find that irritating, but it is ministry, and it is them being pioneers or ambassadors for their belief. They are not afraid to tell people they are a spiritualist. Well, they're not a spiritualist, are they? But they are not afraid to share their understanding. How many spiritualists do that? Although I don't say go to the supermarket and start telling everyone down the aisles, that's a lovely carrot cake and I'm a spiritualist. It may not go down quite in the way that you imagine. But realize that, do you ever say, do people really know? Who are you? What do you do? What do you believe? A lot of people have become maybe ashamed or afraid of the label. People say, oh, well, there's no science involved. There are scientists involved in your movement. There are young people interested in your movement. But what happens when they walk across that threshold? How are they greeted? How are they seen? Our friend said it so rightly. If they cannot see themselves in a place because they do not find their tribe, then they will move on to find where they do fit. And ladies and gentlemen, you all did that as teenagers, did you not?
No.
You left your home, the safety and the comfort, where all things were done for you, to go out there and find the people that truly understood you because your family did not. Well, that's what you assumed, when they probably got you more than you ever realized. But the whole point was, you have to go out there into the world to find out for yourself, to explore and experience for yourself. And therefore, there are those who are searching, but can you be found? Make a noise, point the way, be the lamp bearer for others. Come this way, follow me, I know a way. That is what our world does, that brought into your modern day term of spiritualism, although communication with our world has always existed. Spiritualism is not suddenly the panacea of all spirituality, it is a way. In all beliefs throughout this world, we work our magic. It is just seen and described in different words. Please do not ever think that your way is the only way and everyone else in the world is wrong. Look for the similarities between all faiths and understandings and ways of life and religions. Extol the virtues of unity and similarity, not of difference and indifference to each other. As you move forward in this life and into the life beyond, what will you take with you? What will you leave behind for others? Will you have been good caretakers of your belief, of your way of life, of your religion? Or will you just have thought, well, I'll let the next lot deal with it? This is what has happened, has it not? It's not my responsibility. It's not my job. If not yours, whose? We are all in this together, and none of you get out alive. So allow yourselves to realize that in this world, you are needed. In this world, you are special and you are loved. And from our world, you could never disappoint. Please do not place upon yourselves a guilt trip based on what you think our world sees of you. We understand that you are experiencing your difficulties in life. We understand when sometimes your health or your family or your work gets in the way of your ability to be of service. But in that way you are also of service to your work, to your family, to your own health and self. You must be of service to self, not just to others. So realize that our world is not going to say, well, she's been off sorting out all of this and ignored us for all this time, and now she has the cheek to sit again and say, Spirit world, come and talk to me. Of course we don't. We are happy to see you, and we are there with open arms. Because you may be away from us for what you think feels like an eternity, and to us is only the blink of an eye. So realize that you are loved beyond measure, that you can never disappoint, and that you need to start realizing that of yourself too. Not just as we see you, but as you see you. Yes? Promise me.
Yeah.
Non-committal, how wonderful. It's because they're too warm. They're melting into your seats.
Yes.
They're melting into your seat. So do we have one more question before we go? And then I know we must withdraw. I know your time pulls to an end.
Do from your left-hand side.
Wonderful. I'm so glad because we can talk to you at the same time.
In the unfoldment of mediumship, what can we do to make it easier for you so we can have a more fuller perspective of your wishes in some way?
Stop trying to push our world into a mold.
To work with you.
Everybody wishes to take a shortcut. Find me a way to do it quicker, to do it faster. Tell me the method. Tell me the mold that I must fit into to become a good medium. Who's to say you are not a good medium already? Because it is your natural state. The problem is that sometimes other people interfere with you and your unfoldment, and then your mind starts to question the ability in all manner of ways. Am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? Other people can be the biggest damage to your unfoldment. Your greatest and most beautiful aspect to make life easy is to become loving towards yourself, to be gentle with yourself and say, friends, I am here. Wherever you wish to, lead me, and I will follow. Not behind you nor in front of you, but by your side as your friend. And realize so much that what lies ahead of you personally is to enable that within others more and more. Because you wish to free the soul. And you see, you speak of the soul so often. And the importance to recognize that within your own soul, you are that reflection of God, so great, so strong. And to realize that often you won't see it. Recognize that all of this, all of what you wish to be, is not out there, but within, already exists. The potential, the perfection, the ultimate and divine unconditional love is already ever present. and that part of your job, part of what you agreed long before your feet touched the earth, was to bear that light for others so that they too could shine brightly. Do not shy away, do not doubt, do not fear. What others do and others think is theirs and theirs alone. Trust and do what you know to be true, what you know to be right. And you have all of us behind you in that journey. And that goes for all of you. Don't think he's just special, please. But it is important you know that for what comes next. Do you understand?
Thank you very much. Yes.
And you see, you must realize as well that those who have tutored you and guided you in this world, who are now in our world, still have their influence and their play in your life. You understand?
Yes.
So now they are there even more behind your back, watching every move and encouraging you onwards, ever onwards.
Thank you.
And your grandmother as well.
Oh, wow.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I know our time has been brief and we could spend a lot longer speaking on such things. But let us say this. Go from this place and this day, not as you once were, but newly renewed with a faith and a confidence that this means something in your life, that this has power and purpose in the world, and it is up to you who you share it with. But realize that if it's made a difference to you, how many more out there are dying to know this truth? Share it widely, share it loudly, not too loud, but share it loudly. Let all that wish to hear, hear it. And those who don't wish to hear it, that's their choice. All you can do is be the example of what spiritualism is to you. And let it be the invitation for those who wish to know why you are the way you are, why you do the things you do, and how you manage to navigate through life with a wonderful sense of optimism and joy and hopefulness. So we thank you for your attention in what is rather a warm day. But we thank you nonetheless for what has come here, what has happened here, will not be forgotten by your world or ours. And we thank you for being a part of it. God bless you all.
God bless you.